Kentucky picked up a huge win today against St. John's and showed that when the Cats are healthy, they are a serious, serious problem.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we're going to be recapping Kentucky basketball's 78-66 win over the St. John's Red Storm, a big-time win in Catlanta. Jayden Quaintance explodes in his debut. Jaland Lowe shows us that, well, without a point guard, what are you? Exploded in the second half as well. This team defense was phenomenal. We're going to dive into all of it. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. If you're new to the show, watching this live on YouTube, I would love it if you subscribe to the show. And if you were listening on podcast, I would also appreciate it if you subscribed there as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you're watching this live on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the game. We're going to get to it here later on in the show. If you're listening to this on podcast, you can find me on Twitter at LockedOnUK. If you want to ping me, let me know what you thought about this contest. Want to let me know what you thought about how this game went. It was a doozy, a very, very sluggish first half. We got to see Jayden Quaintance's debut. He had, I think, a really solid start, a couple of points, a couple of block shots, clearly affecting the game. It was the second half that he truly did shine, though. Again, we'll get to it later on. But this first half, just 25 points, 10 of 28 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3. Really, really bad numbers. They were turning the ball over. They had 11 turnovers in that first half. You started the game off with a turnover where Dawe just couldn't keep his footing. He actually had all 4 of his turnovers in the first half. Couldn't quite keep his footing for the majority of the game, actually, which was interesting how he was kind of slipping and sliding all over the place, and yet nobody else was. But it was the same thing we saw against Indiana. Sluggish, lethargic, no answers. And Jaland Lowe went to check in at a point in the first half, or excuse me, I believe he went to check in at some point early in the first half, and within 7 seconds, re-injured his shoulder and immediately ran to the locker room. And at that point, I thought the game was over. I'm like, okay, if Kentucky can't even get their point guard in the game to play for the first time healthy, to play for the first time healthy in 41 games. Fully healthy for the first time in 41 games. If we can't even get him in for more than 10 seconds, we're not going to beat this team. A very resilient, a very competent, a well-coached St. John's team that really knows how to stress you out on the defensive end. Credit to them. I thought they played a good game. Unfortunately, Kentucky's just got some personnel that they did not match up well with. But in that first half, I thought, okay, game's over. Can't get your point guard out there. JQ's not going to be enough. They can't find any sort of consistent offense. They're not shooting the ball well. They can't keep up in what's going to end up being a very ugly game. And then halftime hits, and Jaland Lowe apparently is ready to go. We start to see some rumblings on Twitter of, oh my gosh, he's back out there. Bill Rafferty saying, coming out of the commercial break, hey, he's out there. I think he's going to go. And here we are. Jaland Lowe, in the second half, ends up playing 15 of the 20 minutes, 13 points, 5 of 7 shooting, that killer 3 in the second half to sort of put this thing away. 3 assists, no turnovers, by the way, in those 15 minutes. It is so clear. It's so abundantly clear that when this team is healthy and they have all of the pieces in place, it still might not be the greatest roster construction that Kentucky has ever had or Mark Pope has ever had as a coach, period. However, it is still a good team that I think has very clearly found their identity on defense. This is a defensive-minded team that will grit and grind their way out of every single game for the rest of the season. That's how they're going to play. That's how they should play. And I'm excited to see that aspect of this team kind of be leaned into, especially after what we saw a season ago, where you couldn't really stop much of anything and you were insane on offense. Now it's the opposite problem where you just need the offense to come along a little bit. And again, when this team is healthy, when they've got Jaland Lowe, when they've got Jayden Quaintance, when they've got all these pieces, they can be super, super special. This can be a good team. This can be a really good team that can make a run in March. If they have all of the pieces together, are they going to win a national championship? I don't know. We don't know. Probably not. But, I mean, any team can catch fire, right? And with a player like JQ on the floor, you are just a completely different animal to mess with. Quaintance, in his debut, 17 minutes. He played more than I thought he would. Part of it was because of the foul trouble that Kentucky got in. Marino with 4 fouls in this game. They had to adjust. They ended up choosing Jayden Quaintance over Brandon Garrison in the second half. JQ, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, plus 18, was second best on the team. Those numbers are great for someone that is just making their debut, right? But you have to actually watch the game to see how impactful he was on both ends of the floor. The kid is a physical monster. He is incredible for any matchup virtually on defense. St. John's did not play a player in their rotation taller than 6'11", and Prey didn't really get in that much. It was Edgia for who is only 6'9", who clearly could not handle the larger Quaintance in this game. He was eating up space on defense, where you could not consistently get the ball inside at all. St. John's in this game ends up shooting 34.8%. 34.8%. They could not find a consistent rhythm because they couldn't drive. Now, they were getting fouled a lot, some of which I thought was bull. I thought the officiating in this game was bad. It was bad. It was just objectively bad. But they could not find a way to consistently finish. And it was because of Quaintance and because of how physical Kentucky was willing to play in this game. The effort that they gave was incredible. And then on the offensive end, he gives you somebody that you can throw the ball into in the post. He can also handle the ball a little bit. He can drive. We got to see that early in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. And then he is somebody that can absolutely, if the shots are not falling, hey, we've got a second chance because the 6'10", 6'11", 255-pound monster of a big man that we have down low is grabbing offensive boards. He grabbed 5 in this game. 5 offensive rebounds. Huge, huge stuff. And a couple of those were just immediate putbacks. A couple of those were just immediate dunks. He gives you an aspect to your team on both ends of the floor that it goes beyond the stats. You have to actually watch this team perform. And then on top of this, something that I said on, I believe, yesterday's show, or it might have been 2 shows ago, JQ gives you, I think, clarity for the rest of your roster rotation if they're healthy. Because everybody starts to kind of slide in a little bit better to their natural position. And the most interesting thing to me, actually, in this game is that Kentucky elected so often to play two center lineups. They played a lot with 2 big men on the floor. But it still allows that guard rotation to kind of slide up and be more comfortable, where Kam can play small forward and you can kind of let it rock like that, right? We'll get to Kam in a second. Not to say that I'm Nostradamus on this show, but as far as the impact players in this game and how Kentucky was going to win this one, I mean, they hit it to a T. I mean, they absolutely nailed it. You knew, I knew Kentucky was going to have to be physical in this game, and they went out there and they showed the grit that we all wanted to see. So we're going to get to some of the comments in the live chat. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We will get to Jake Evans saying 6'7" in the chat. I love how I tab over and it's Jevons hitting me with a 6'7". I knew it was going to happen at some point because I was like making notes before I started, and I saw 6'7" beside each other. Like, I'm going to say it at some point in this live stream. Anyway, we'll get to the rest of my thoughts on JQ, Kam, how this game went, your thoughts on it. By the way, just to let you guys know, Mario Maitland of KSR is going to be joining us on Monday to talk a little bit more about this game as well as how Kentucky is playing. So I'm really excited about that. Before we kind of dive into the rest of this game, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Wayfair. The holidays always show up faster than we expect. And if you're still putting together gifts, last-minute decor, or you're getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need fast. Their selection is huge. They've got bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids' room updates. You can find everything all in one place. It's no massive delivery fees. It's no stress. It's the best way to get your home holiday ready without running around to different stores. Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best whenever the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum starts to flip after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. They've got live spreads and money lines that update instantly. They've got player props as guys heat up or cool off. You can bet next touchdown scores, drives, results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every single snap, every drive, every single possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, continuing along here on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. Thank you so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Please subscribe if you have not already. You guys already live your team every day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. You can join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Kentucky with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonkentucky.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. I will be updating this this description with that link after the stream, but lockedonkentucky.supercast.com if you want to check that out. Okay. 78-66 is the final score. Cats get the dub in Catlanta. Absolutely incredible second half effort from the Cats, who score 53 points, outscore St. John's by 19 in the second half to get their 78-66 win. Absolutely crushed the Red Storm. Crushed the Red Storm. And this is, again, what we've been continuing to say for about a week now. Find your identity in what you're doing on defense. Find your identity in how you operate on that end of the floor, because you're not a good offensive team. Somehow, Kentucky is still, they're now 32nd in the country. They actually moved up in adjusted offensive efficiency on KenPom. The shooting numbers, not that phenomenal from beyond the arc, but they're grabbing O boards. They're not turning the ball over a ton. I mean, they turned the ball over a ton in the first half, only 5 turnovers in the second. But generally, they're not turning the ball over a ton. And they're actually still finishing at the rim pretty well. In the second half, they shot over 54% from the field total. So it just shows you what they were doing at the rim. This was dominance. This was dominance. And it's what you need to see moving forward. With how aggressive players like JQ were, with how decisive and in control Jaland Lowe is. Kentucky is not going to get this kind of performance, especially in the second period, if they are not healthy. So, moving forward, Kentucky's got to make sure that they are super careful with Jaland Lowe, who is for 2 games in a row has kind of been the closer, who has been like teams just don't really seem to know what to do with him whenever he gets going in the half court. Like they don't know how to stop him from getting to the rim, and he's finishing at a pretty high rate, at a higher rate than I thought he would. He's not getting his shots blocked right now, which is also incredible. Kentucky actually got swatted quite a bit in this game, but Lowe was not on the receiving end of any of those, I think, rejections. But it's so clear that with Lowe and JQ, this team is so different. It's so different. A player we've not talked about yet that I do want to give credit, Owe finished with 20 in this game. He had 5 rebounds, an assist in 34 minutes. I don't think his plus-minus was all that crazy. It was +8, which was 4th best on the team. He also had 3 steals in this one. Didn't make an outside shot. He had a couple of good looks. One of them's going to go down. It's just part of it. Also, he finished 6 of 17 shooting, which was just, I think that was less of he had bad shot selection and more of St. John's was just roughing everybody up. And they weren't calling a ton. They just weren't. Just an uber physical night for Dawe, who had to deal with a lot. And then another player that what does KenPom say of defensive efficiency? Somebody asks. That just completely swiped me. Kentucky has the 14th best defense in America right now. 12th best effective field goal percentage. They're top 25 in offensive rebound percentage, and they are top 25 in both 3-point percentage and 2-point percentage. So they're doing a really good job of preventing opponents from getting second chance opportunities, and they're limiting them making shots, period, which is really, 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 really good to see. They're doing an okay job of keeping them off the foul line. I would say a good job. It's a good but not great job. And I think part of that has to do with the sample size that we just got, or sample that we just got from St. John's, where they took 34 freaking free throws because the officials wanted to call a foul every other possession, basically. But still, they are super balanced on defense. They're not doing anything wrong right now, both in terms of eye test and in terms of stats. Like this is just a good defense. Now they could turn their opponents over a little bit more, but I still think that if you're holding them to a low percentage and you're not giving them second chance opportunities, that's enough. I mean, you can obviously always do more, but that will win you games. Absolutely. What was he talking about? Oh yeah, another guy we haven't talked about yet, Kam Williams. He found his outside shot a little bit. He took 5 threes in this game. He made 2 of them. One of them was an in rhythm, in transition, deep 3. I mean, it is exactly what you saw on his tape at Tulane. This is what we brought him in to do. He needs to find that confidence. It was so clear for a stretch there. He found it. I would like to see more consistency, but I mean, overall, I thought Kam was one of the 3 most important players in this game to me. I had Kam, BG, and Lowe. I did not think that Quaintance would play this much, but he did. So, I mean, but Kam also plus 13, 3rd best on the team in plus minus. So impactful on the defensive end. So impactful. I am just still in shock, by the way, guys, at just the flip from how good Kentucky was on offense a season ago to how inconsistent and I would just say bad they are this year and how good they are on defense now. It is just a complete flip on its head. And the thing is, if they have a point guard, they can still be good enough on offense. They're just not a great 3-point shooting team. Now, there were some open looks that they just didn't hit tonight from guys that usually make them at a decent rate. I think they will find their footing they're going to have a game or 2 here soon where they do just shoot the ball well and they continue to play well on defense and they win a game they probably shouldn't. Bama, Tennessee, LSU, Vandy, etc. Like they're going to have a game here in the next month or so where they do just pop off and shots fall. The consistency's not there though, but man, just a point guard just changes your world. Oh, also speaking of point guards, I really like the fact that Butler was in person to see this one. Him and his dad were there. I thought that was pretty sweet. Really awesome to see them in the crowd. Yeah, pretty happy with this one. Cats now projected to win 20-plus games. 11-7 in the SEC is what the computer models are saying. But again, with how little the models know or places like KenPom know about Quaintance, I think we need a little bit more sample size to see what they can potentially be with him consistently on the floor. This team is going to win games that we currently don't expect them to. They might also lose some. Who knows? There are going to be nights where the defense is not always there, and sometimes teams will hit shots that are just really tough. St. John's took a lot of tough shots in this game, didn't end up making a lot of them. Actually, barely made any of them in the second half. 78-66 is your final score here. We'll continue to push this one along. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we wrap up the show, we'll get to everybody in the live chat here for a long time probably. I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Rocket Money. If you ever feel like your money just disappears each month, for me, it can happen fast as well. It can be a few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't exactly match the numbers that you have in your head. And Rocket Money can help you get clarity, track every single dollar, and you can stay in control of your finances. Managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, so you can save more and stress less. They find subscriptions you forgot you were paying for, and you can help them. They help you clean them up pretty quickly. They also have bill alerts and spending notifications to help you catch small things before they turn into big expenses. They actually will give you a notification, and they'll send you an email, and it really does help me kind of stay on top of everything to make sure I'm spending money where I should, spending money where I shouldn't, budgeting well, just being smart. Rocket Money helps me do all of that with a lot of clarity. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Really appreciate everybody in the live chat here today. 78-66 is the final score. Cats get the dub in Catlanta. JQ plays really well in his Kentucky debut. 5 of 7 shooting, 10 points, a couple of dunks, putback dunks, incredible blocks you got to see in this game. Just clearly changing everything on the defensive end of the floor. What a game. What a game. People are arguing about Trace and Eaglestaff in the chat. Where did Eaglestaff end up going, by the way? Was it West Virginia or something random like that? I can't wait to see JQ go against Nick Pringle and Trevon Brazil of Arkansas. That will be a very, very tough game because Arkansas plays the style of ball that Kentucky wants to right now, except they're a shockingly good three-point shooting team, and they are just insanely athletic. So that's going to be a hard out. West Virginia? Yeah, okay. That'll be a hard out, though. Chandler is what he was earlier. He just looks worse based on perspective because of JQ Lowe and Kam Williams. You just got to... I think that Chandler... He's got to... Like he takes a little bit of a back seat, right? To everybody. But he's got to be your Kobe Brea, I think, in this situation, where he's a rotational piece, and he is the guy that knocks down threes. He's got to find his outside shot. He went 0 of 1 in this game from 3. 19 minutes, did not score a point. He had 3 assists, 1 steal, a couple of turnovers and a board. And again, he's got to be efficient from 3 if he wants to stay a part of this rotation consistently. What happened to Yelovich? I think they're just playing the guys that work right now. I think they're trying to tighten this thing up a little bit. They played him early in the year to kind of see what he was about. Now that they've got JQ and they can do a little bit more at power forward, I guess either that or he's done something and they're just not playing him as punishment. I don't know. And I hate to speculate about that and just like people discuss that as if it's like a thing that is actually happening. But again, like we don't know. I don't know. Other than that, they're just trying to tighten things up and play the guys that are working right now. I'd like to see JQ go against Somto Cyril. You know, before I went live, I was actually thinking like, man, a Somto Cyril type is kind of what Kentucky needs or needed last year to go along with Amari, where he's just like uber physical, big, like impossible to get around. Of course, Somto was more of a foul baiter. So I didn't like playing against him, I'll tell you that. And I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to like playing against JQ. Need Lowe to stay healthy. That's all we need. 100%. I wrote an article on my Substack that I should probably post more often on in the off season about how the most important thing for Kentucky this season was point guard health, specifically finding a way to keep Lowe healthy, and about how more efficient he can be and what he does for this offense without even seeing him on the floor. It was clear before even the season started. If you don't have your man, what are you? That's right. He did originally commit to us under Cal. Somto did. But it was so clear. You cannot operate this thing without your quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, you got a receiver playing quarterback. You got a running back taking snaps back there, trying to run this thing. What are you? You're not an efficient offense, I'll tell you that. I will absolutely tell you that. Nothing like having a complete team together. I'm at the JQ on the floor. JQ with Lowe on the floor, unstoppable. That's right. A couple of you said you were going to be at this game. I hope you all had a great time. He played no on an inbounds to try and get less than 4 on the shot clock. I think is what you meant to say. Would also like to see him go against Felix Okpara. man, the Tennessee battle is going to be interesting because they are just they're interesting personnel-wise because of how good Gillespie can be and how inefficient Nate Ament has been so far, but he's still a freak of nature at small forward, right? At 6'10". I mean, they've got a lot of really good they're a really good defensive team as well. Best offensive rebounding team in the country right now is Tennessee. I did not know that. Woo. How many people had a double? Are you asking double, or are you asking? I'm not sure what you're asking, but the answer is nobody had a double. Actually, the closest that anyone got were Marino and Quaintance. Marino had 8 and 9. Also a couple of blocks. I thought Marino played, not phenomenal, but I thought he played well. It's a high floor freshman. He's playing well for what he is. And then JQ had 10 and 8. I think Arkansas can beat Houston today. Dude, I forget Arkansas is playing Houston today. We got college ball playoff games going on right now. I'm curious. I actually have no idea if Miami won or not earlier. Cam's going to get there. I just hope he does, dude. He plays so hard. If he can get some more outside shots to fall. 5 of 6 from the charity stripe, by the way. Speaking of, let's talk about this for just a brief moment. I know I've noticed Andrea hasn't been playing at all the last 2 games. Yeah, I think they are just trying to tighten this thing up. That would be my guess. Kentucky is shooting 75% from the free throw line on the season. 75%. Here's how they have shot from the free throw line over the last few seasons. I'm going to try and pull this up. 75.2, 73.1, 77.2 with that Shepard, Dillingham, Wagner team. 70.6, 72.6, 72.9. They were first in the country in 2020 at 79.7, but 73.9, 69.8, 70.3. They are consistently not a plus, like an above, like crazy above average free throw shooting team. This is a good free throw shooting team. Like they look like it. They were 18 of 22 in this game. 81.8% is going to win you a lot of games. I was pretty happy about it. Now, JQ's probably not the best free throw shooter, but the team as a whole, you get the right guys on the line, and they can execute. We should have also gotten Josh Dix or Silas Demery Jr. Or D-Dan Thomas. Is D-Dan at LSU? Where did Thomas end up? Because Dix actually would have been the Kobe Brea type on this team, and he would have been great. But again, we need Chandler to be that. I think Chandler can still be that. Dix is probably a little bit less rigid, I would say, in the way that he operates. He's probably nowhere near as good of a high flyer. Yeah, LSU, okay. Yeah, Chandler, I think, brings you a lot more athleticism there. Also, just a calm 31.4% offensive rebound percentage for Quaintance whenever he was on the floor. How many minutes did JQ play? 17. Yeah, I keep forgetting he played that much. Just crazy. Lance will be cheering for Oregon tonight and during the playoffs. I just want to see Stein get the championship and bring that optimism here. I will be pulling for the Ducks. Should not be too difficult against JMU, who I have a lot of respect for just because of how good that program has been in between coaches. It's kind of like the new Arkansas State if you think about it. Kind of rotating guys out and just new guys come in and win. But yeah, I'll be rooting for Oregon. I'm curious to see what Stein does in the portal because it sounds like we're going to ride with Boley, and people seem to be very conflicted on that. I think Boley can be really good. He's just got to be a better decision maker. I mean, he's got the physical tools. The kid can move a lot better than I think we give him credit for. He's got a really strong arm. I think he can be a successful quarterback in the SEC, especially with somebody like Stein calling plays. I'm liking some of the personnel adds that they're making to the staff. I'm just curious to see what do we do in the portal to kind of rejuvenate this roster. Can we get some big-time skill players in? Honestly, can we get some big-time guys in on both sides of the ball? Can we get some studs in? We'll see. We'll have to see. It's going to be on you to keep us in check moving forward. No pressure. Dude, we are riding the wave, man. We did it last year. Unfortunately, we're all doing it again. We could lose to Bama by 30, then turn around, beat Missouri by 30, then beat Mississippi State by like 2 in overtime, and then turn around and lose to LSU. We are riding the wave, dude. We are riding the wave. Unfortunately, all of us are going to be probably pretty volatile emotionally with how this team performs because one hot shooting night, everything could change. One bad night with Kentucky not being able to like get stops on jump shots, and could be tough. Quaintance and Lowe, the two guys that very clearly made this thing run, and if they stay healthy, will make this thing run for the rest of the season. Can this team win the SEC playing this rotation and style? I think it's a toss-up between us, Bama, and Arkansas as is. That is a great question, one that I was thinking about as the back of the end of this game was unfolding. Like, can Kentucky find a way to win this league with this style of play? And I think the answer is yes, but I have to see more from Lowe and Quaintance. This is the first game we've seen them play together and play like extended minutes, right? Bama is so incredible on offense that if I had to pick a team to win the league right now, it would be them. But they cannot stop. They could not stop a gust of wind on defense. Like it's really bad what they're doing on that end of the floor. But they're so explosive, so hard to guard at the rim. Tennessee, I don't think can win this league just because they're just not efficient enough, and their personnel is a little wonky. Kind of similar to Kentucky, honestly. Florida can't shoot well enough to win this league. Kind of similar to Kentucky actually as well, except Florida's just a better rebounding team. Vandy could win this league. They could. Arkansas can win this league. They're projected to go 10-8 right now in the SEC. I just don't quite get that, just because of how athletic they are, and they're much better on offense than I think people give them credit for. So yeah, Arkansas, Bama, Kentucky. I would agree with you. I think that's probably where I'm sitting. Vandy as a sleeper pick, who's probably still going to win a lot of games in this league. Kentucky can, but I want to see more. Let's see. Anybody else? What's your non-con grade for the Cats? C-. C-. North Carolina, you should have won. Michigan State, I understand how bad that game got at the end, but that's another game that you could have at least made look prettier, if not won. That is a beatable Michigan State team. Louisville was a game that you could have found a way to close out. Louisville is not at the world beater that we thought they were. They lost to Tennessee by a large amount. They are an inconsistent shooting team. They're super volatile, really, really good, but super volatile. They had a good shooting night against Kentucky. You play them again now with Lowe and Quaintance on the floor, playing both together. Don't know if you're hearing the same story. So part of it is because of the health. They lost some games, but at the end of the day, they lost. They should have won against North Carolina, and I would have liked to have seen them beat Louisville. The Gonzaga game is what it is. But yes, C-. Unacceptable, and they need to adjust moving forward. They need to get better moving forward. They got to take some games that people wouldn't expect us to win right now. So, Michigan State's been very good. They barely lost to Duke, but yeah, again, it's still a state team that Kentucky could have beaten if they had more rhythm on offense. Hit the likes. I would appreciate it if you guys like the video. If you're new here, subscribe. We post a video every single weekday, breaking stuff down with Kentucky. As we wade deeper into the offseason, get a little bit more info about Stein, what they're going to be bringing in, we'll talk Kentucky football. We're better than Arkansas. Their butthurt fans run their mouths more than anyone. We better beat Arkansas is what you said. I'd like to see an Arkansas win, but that it's so tough. So tough. Kentucky's going to have to, again, like they've done for 2 games now, they're going to have to do things that we haven't seen them do for a while. Captain Crash said he's new here. He'll consider subscribing. I appreciate it, man. And while you're at it, see if we can get Grand Derbyshire on the show. Actually, that'd be pretty freaking funny. Okay. I think that's going to do it for today's episode of the show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, follow Locked On Kentucky, so you're going to get all the latest episodes. If you need a last-minute holiday gift or someone keeps asking you what you want, you can ask for the Everydayer Club, $5 a month, $50 a year. Ad-free episodes of this show, exclusive Discord server access, and more. Subscriptions can be gifted through lockedonkentucky.supercast.com. Do you really want me to get Grant? If you know him. If you know him, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to having him on. Speaking of having people on, we will be having, I believe, Mario Maitland of Kentucky Sports Radio on the show on Monday. We had talked about possibly having him on, especially if the Johnnies lost to Kentucky. And sure enough, here we are. So stay tuned for that. Should be a lot of fun. That's going to do it for today's episode. You can follow the show on Twitter at LockedOnUK. Follow me on Twitter at @LanceDawe_. And follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns? Again, you can drop them all in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all on Monday for what should be a pretty fun episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And of course, God bless.